So recently I've done a lot of these videos where I just kind of sit, I need a shave, sorry about that. Where I just kind of sit and just talk about stuff. I don't know why I do these. Like I feel like kind of an idiot for doing these because like y'all are not my therapist. But some of these things, like if I talk about them, it kind of brings awareness to certain subjects like being gay and being bullied in a small town or stuff like that. But also, this particular subject is something that I really want to bring awareness to because not very many people know about it. But also, this event, just in general, that happened, inspired my upcoming album, and so I thought I would kind of give a little bit of backstory to kind of explain my headspace during the creation of that album to kind of understand the songs. What I'm going to be discussing today is something called limerence. And if you guys don't know what limerence is, it's just like an obsession with somebody that is really intense, and there's a lot of symptoms that we'll get into throughout this video. But it was something I dealt with in high school, and I'm still kind of dealing with it today. But limerence can usually be offset by literally anything. Like, there's no real known absolute cause for it, but usually I think like childhood trauma and OCD and like all that kind of stuff, which, you know, I do have OCD and like trauma and stuff. So that stuff can kind of trigger it. Um, and my limerence started when I was a freshman in high school. And I was dealing with a lot of really shitty things. I was being bullied and I was struggling really badly with like self harming and like I just wanted to die every day. Sorry, I'm really getting into it, but that I did. And there was this guy in my grade. I'm not gonna say names because that's just weird. Like, I'm already uncomfortable saying this as it is, just in case these people ever see this. If they do, that's fine. But there was this guy in my grade, and he, like, from what I saw when I was a freshman, he just seemed like he had so much ambition towards life, and it felt like the people he was friends with, if they were down, he would instantly bring them up just by being near them. Sorry, the lights are being weird. Um, that's no, hold on. But, you know, it felt like he would easily just like bring them up, like they actually mattered. And I started, for some reason, I just started wanting to be friends with them. And I craved that feeling of being made to feel like I fucking matter, you know, and I felt worthless at this time in my life, and I started developing an infatuation with him. And I feel so creepy saying that, but it's true. I'm just putting it bluntly. That doesn't mean I was like going to his fucking house and like breaking into it or anything. Absolutely not. But I definitely developed an obsession because of the way this guy made me feel. And there were times where he would talk to me every once in a while, but it wasn't very often. And when he would, it would make me feel so special. And as pathetic as that sounds, like I remember one time, like I don't even know what it was. Like he was throwing something to his friend, and he told me to duck. Like that's just common decency. But in my like already desperate and like depressed state of mind, I was like, oh my god, yes. And so like I already had a crush on this dude. Like I thought he was cute, but this kind of incident with me being depressed and wanting to be friends with him just only intensified it and made it develop into an obsession. And then my sophomore year is when it got really bad, and it wasn't like just feeling joy anytime I was near him, because then I would like crave his attention. Ew. I would want him to talk to me because it made me feel like I mattered in my fucked up state of mind again. And he rarely talked to me because we were in two different friend groups. We had two different crowds and I barely knew him. We were just like in the same grade, but we weren't really friends or anything. And so I would start wishing he would just talk to me, but I would never give an effort outwards because I would always get such intense anxiety around him that it was like debilitating and it felt like I couldn't breathe. That's another thing of limerence. Just overwhelming anxiety. And so I never did that, and I just kind of expected him to talk to me, as stupid as that sounds. And I would get very jealous of anyone he was friends with because he would talk to them and not me, and I would want to be them. And I'm like, oh my god, I bet they're so happy, and they think like nothing is wrong. And it kind of, throughout the years, it's gotten worse and worse. And I hate that I'm like fucking clinging to this dude, because that's not fair. Just push all of this like baggage onto somebody, you know what I mean? But it's not something I can help. Um, and I would get to points where if he wouldn't like look at me at school, I'd think he hated me and wanted me to kill myself. And my senior year is when this shit got really bad, and I thought it would be a good idea to somehow talk to him and ask to be friends with him, because I thought it would actually, it was my senior year, and I was like, YOLO. Ew. Who the fuck? I'm sorry. Anyways, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to him, and he was chill, but I came across as very, like, too strong. And it definitely like turned him away from being like my friend. And like, basically, I'm trying not to go into too many details because that's just like fucking weird, but basically I asked to be his friend, and I requested to follow him on like, I think Instagram and TikTok at the same time. And I was just like, kind of, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking clearly. And so I did that, and he was just kind of ignoring them, and I was really hurt. And like, it was obviously a hint, but like in my state of mind, I didn't want to think it was. I just want to think, oh, he's just busy. And I even started asking him about it, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry if that was weird. I just like to follow my friends on social media. And he's like, oh, that's fine, no worry. And he said he was like busy and doesn't check them. But then, this sounds really creepy, when I would like check to see if he had like accepted my request, his followers were going up. So he was accepting them, and he was just ignoring mine. And already, like, being in the state of mind I was with that level of infatuation, it pushed me really, it made me go down a really dark rabbit hole, because I'm like, what did I do? Like, this guy that used to literally make me feel alive now is kind of being an ass to me and just like not communicating. And then me and him had like a mutual friend, and because of like him having to go back and forth between me and this guy, it wound up ruining our relationship, and I like really cared about him. And also the way like the friend handled it wasn't the greatest. I mean, I wasn't perfect, and I'm in no way like trying to victimize myself. Even though I don't really think there is any victims in the story, like I just gave a guy a creepy vibe, and that was it. And I've apologized numerous times for it, and I still feel awful about it. But it's something that I've really struggled with, and me and him had mutual friends, and sometimes I would hear through the grapevine stuff he would say about me. I don't know how true they were, but they were not good things, and it caused me to spiral and go off the deep end. Like, I would have some days where I would cry all day, or I would just want to kill myself, and it was just really intense, and it inspired this album coming out soon, hopefully in October. I don't know the exact date yet, but it inspired this album, and just the pain I felt and the anger I felt towards like this friend that kind of just abandoned me because he was stuck in between me and this guy. He didn't even want to work things out. And just kind of being upset about my crush that kind of didn't handle it the greatest and wasn't the nicest. I mean, he wasn't the worst, and he was like really patient with me, and that's something I really appreciate. Is like, because I would text him like kind of a lot, and he would like always answer sometimes, and he was like really nice. So like, I don't hate this guy. I just have issues that I need to work through, and I don't really blame him for them. I mean, I do kind of hate the way he went about handling it, because it fucking hurt, but I don't hate him. And I really appreciate just how patient he was with me, because like he didn't have to do that, but he did. It's gonna be so weird if he ever watches this. But pretty much that is what inspired this upcoming album. So, and Limerence is something I've discussed in music before, like on my second album. And it's just something, the thing with limerence is it doesn't go away. Like, it can take years. I've heard of people being limerent towards someone for decades. It's awful. And your brain does not let you get over this person. Usually, like, when you have a crush on somebody, you get over it eventually, if it's not reciprocated. Me, I kept having that feeling of not being reciprocated for like 3 years. and I still deal with it a little bit, but I'm like managing it a lot better now that I'm out of high school. Um, but it is something that I would not wish on anyone because it just makes you feel like you don't matter, and it drains you and just makes you not want to live anymore. Because for me, it like made me fucking miserable. Because my brain just would not let me move on. So sorry that I've just been kind of ranting for 10 minutes straight. I just wanted to kind of talk about this to bring awareness and also to give a little bit of insight to what my next album is about. So, yes. Bye, guys.